Hi, I'm Liv, as we all know. Discernment is loosely defined as the gut feeling that you're doing the right thing. So there are 6 steps to this process that nurses should take to ensure they're doing the right thing by themselves and their patients. Step 1 is to gather all of the relevant facts. Basically, just make sure you know what you're talking about and make sure you've heard the patient out to the fullest, everything they have to say. Step 2 is to identify any ethical issues. In relation to this case study that we're supposed to be talking about, is the ethical issue is abortion, which should undoubtedly be left to the patients with no input from any medical providers other than strict medical information. Step 3 is to consider the necessary relationships needed for the patient to thrive. In this case study, this would be the relationship with the father of the fetus and the relationship the patient has with the fetus themselves. This means any positive or negative feelings the patient has about carrying the fetus to term after hearing about this specific diagnosis. Step 4 is to brainstorm any possible options. This is the most important step, in my opinion, especially in this case study, because the patient should be fully informed of all the options as well as the risks and rewards associated with the medical situation. Step 5 is to weigh the options and choose the best one. This is a decision the patient should ultimately come up to on their own, without any opinionated influence from the medical personnel. The last step is to evaluate the decision against external and internal criteria. This is how the patient will ultimately reinforce their decision by weighing how their life is set up and if this is something that their lifestyle or mental and emotional status can handle this decision. In response to the discussion questions after the case study, the nurses should have absolutely no say in the decisions to the patient. The primary purpose of the nurse in the situation is to educate the patient on all options, including birthing the fetus or having an abortion. There should be strict facts about the pros and cons of attempting to carry the fetus to term, absolutely no opinions given to the patient. By inserting personal opinions, the nurse is now taking away the option of choice from the patient, as the patient may be influenced to change their decision based on the opinions presented by the nurse or the medical personnel. If the information cannot be found in a book or supported with research, then it should not be said to the patient. If there is an instance where the patient specifically asks for the nurse's opinion, the nurse should continue to hold strong and remove any personal opinions from the conversation. Basically just reassuring the patient of their thought processes and providing strict information is the best way to handle that. Depending on the intensity of the patient's uneasiness, per se, a slight consult can be called in from the doctor, preferably with the patient's consent. If I were the patient, I would do what is best for me and ignore all unnecessary opinions from all the nurses and the medical staff.